Good morning and welcome back to Early Morning Chats. I'm your host, Lauren Early, the ASID HQ Director of Advocacy, and I am so happy to be joined by Perrin Graham-Jackson today. She is based out of Nashville, Tennessee, and is an expert in the space of universal design, which includes a whole bunch of topics that she can get into a little bit today, but she has been in this space of adaptive design and universal design for a long time, and I'm happy to hear her thoughts today on sort of that intersection with advocacy and a lot of the advocacy work she's been doing. So welcome, Perrin. Thanks so much for being here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's something that I'm very passionate about. Didn't necessarily always see myself here when I was studying through college, but once I kind of got into the field, I saw how many missing pieces there were as far as the functionality of spaces go, and really wanted to make sure that we were supporting people as best as possible. And two, I initially got into design and started in the senior living world. So that's really what brought me to it. And, starting to have those conversations with, where I started in senior living and where it is now. It kind of encompasses, those healthcare realms, those hospitality, like live, work, lifestyle, like it encompasses all of it. And it's also based around a lot of things that people don't want to talk about, and they want silent support, which is what we can provide with furniture and good logistic layouts. And we can definitely have those good conversations with our clients and industry partners too. And I think that that is a really phenomenal way to help support and continue life. Everybody cares about their lifestyle choice these days, right?
Yeah, and it does. It affects everybody, right? I mean, these ideas of inclusivity benefiting all. I think of curb cuts come to mind, right? That may have had one initial user group in mind, and now anybody, anything on wheels is benefited by these slopes in a curb that allow us to navigate as pedestrians. So that's just kind of one way that you think about inclusivity serving all. So you have talked about a little bit of not anticipating your career going this way. Talk to us about how you landed where you're at now and sort of your journey to get there.
Well, ultimately, I started in the field during when the economy kind of bottomed out. So I started in residential in small spaces and eventually moved and got a job in Nashville at my current firm, West End Interiors. And I've kind of been there ever since, exploring the vast amount of changes that have occurred in senior living and like multifamily spaces. It started out, with one viewpoint where it's a more clinical type space. And then as you can see, like people's version of where and how and when they want to live is become different. Yeah.
And you've kind of touched on something that's exactly where our advocacy and some of the work that I do in the space of accessibility and universal design comes into play when we are educating both clients, the public, end users, but of course, decision makers. So people making the laws, passing the laws, implementing the laws, shaping the policies. And you've referred to the ADA, and I've long called that the floor. It's a great floor, good minimum, but so much more is needed beyond that. So a lot of the advocacy work we do in the space of universal design is to push for stronger policies, both that recognize interior designers' knowledge in this space, but the need for it and how that need is good for the whole. And you've also kind of touched on that theme as well, that it's a group effort, and what we're trying to do is show just how many players are involved and at the table in making things designed in a way that serves everybody and is inclusive for all. So charging on. But yeah thoughts, what would you want basically the audience to take away from today?
So yes, the advocacy portion is so important, and that is one thing that I'm, connected to ASID through the Universal Design Committee, and I'm the current chair for this year with that. And I've been working with this committee since about 2020, solving a myriad of different pieces of the puzzle, but creating better language through designers and advocates and our, trade partners and really the general public is something that we are really trying to hone in on. And to be able to get this information out there and how designers can help kind of some of these areas that people struggle to explain or talk about, or how they can get support to. And I think that we have produced several white papers that we're very proud of, like the future of senior living, adaptive living was something that we put out last year, and then we have a few CEUs. But I think the main thing I want people to start focusing on is our principles for healthy living, and that we are trying to include in everything that we have because we're talking about, yes, we're designing for autonomy. So that's yourself. That's making sure that you can move about your space, or you have assistance to move about your space and pick the lifestyle that you want. Right. And that we're also talking about those mental ideas where you are able to, you're engaging with your community, you are connecting with technology, you are trying to alleviate this isolation that a lot of people feel. And, there are many studies out that, that say, isolation, if anything, that's the equivalent of smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day.
Right.
And it is so important to stay connected in some capacity, whether it's to your family, your community, using a technology device, as long as it's something that is manageable and understood. Those are pieces that we want to, promote incorporating in designs as much as possible to help kind of fill out those areas that are lacking. And, just that overall look of wellness, keeping that body, mind, kind of going back to that body space. And then our building systems, our tradespeople know that every single day.
Right.
Got to work on that. That's a secret item that a lot of people don't recognize until us or the contractors are pointing it out, And we want to also emphasize like the attainability of some of these items too. Like how can we build better for the future? Yep. There is a huge stock of housing out there that doesn't really fit the longevity of our lifespan anymore. Right. We're working on another white paper that is geared toward work that we did in the south side of Chicago community there. We got some partnerships with a few different groups and looked at the Chicago bungalow and how that was existing, and looked at the different levels of, okay, what's a good baseline level that's affordable?
Right.
Level, and then you kind of level up from there and figure out how you can adapt this, because there are community partners in areas that will help people find loans or support, or like different community initiatives that will help them stay in their home, or if they want to go to a different place. Like the world is our oyster nowadays. So
and I love that's why. And I think you're touching on something that might surprise people, that affordability also is falling under this umbrella of universal design and ensuring people can stay where they are. And so I love that you sort of touched on that topic. It is obvious how knowledgeable you are in this space, clearly an expert of your craft, and so grateful for your service and expertise leading the Universal Design Committee. And of course, you all produced that. You've called out some wonderful resources, and it sounds like you've got some more coming down the pike. So we are so grateful for just the passion and the knowledge that you lead that group with. But we'll have to leave it here for now, and just hope that people will try to find you and try to find some of these resources that we've mentioned. But yeah, thank you so very much. And I love kind of if I had to put a bow on your answer just there, it would be perfection is the enemy of progress. And you're talking about just steps in the right direction and improving situations and living conditions where we can for everyone so that we're trending in a positive direction. So I love all that you hit on and appreciate your time and
such
energy
thing
today.
as a perfect project, shall we say.
Right. Exactly. We wish, but maybe one day, but we'll keep working toward that perfection in the meantime. Perrin, thank you for your expertise, your time, your energy here today. And yeah, appreciate all of you for tuning in again to another episode of Early Morning Chats. We'll see you next time.